Today is a good day to talk about this because both Montreal and Chicago are not playing tonight, which allows us to breathe because we're not competing against the clock trying to get this video up before the Chicago game or before the Montreal game. In fact, these two teams play each other tomorrow. But the interesting thing about this contest is the fact that the Chicago Blackhawks are going to be bringing on a really intriguing name. Enter Dach. Yes, that is right. Dach is on Chicago, and he's going to play off against Montreal. However, that might be a little bit misleading, because you might be asking yourself, wait a minute, what? Dach is a Montreal Canadien. Why are you talking about him playing off against the Habs? And it's because, you might have remembered this from a few years ago, but back in the 2021 NHL Entry Draft, the Chicago Blackhawks ended up taking a guy in the second round who happened to be the younger brother of Dach. Let's talk today about younger brother Colton, as he's finally been recalled to the Chicago Blackhawks and is going to make his NHL debut tomorrow against his older brother Kirby on the Montreal Canadiens. Take a look at the profile here, 21 years old, 2003 born, 6'4", 196-pound left-wing center. He was actually born on January 4th, so this Montreal-Chicago game wherein he'll play off against his brother is going to be an early birthday present for him. But Colton Dach is a big brute of a power forward who has some really good hands and some offensive capabilities. He was drafted out of the Saskatoon Blade system as a point-per-game guy, and eventually went up to over a point per game with Kelowna the season after. He found himself on the Seattle Thunderbirds and eventually worked his way into the AHL, where last season he had a pretty reasonable 27 points in 48 games played. This season, however, he has played in every Rockford Ice Hogs game, has 25 points in 30 games at only 21 years of age. He is the second most productive player on the team, and he's been looking pretty strong as of late. Last year, he had the ankle injury, and he was limited in his games played, but this year he has been healthy, and the numbers and progression have been looking awesome as a result. In fact, if you look into the archives, we did make a Why I Want video about Colton Dach back in that 2021 season. I was a pretty big fan of him, not just because of his namesake. Obviously, that's a pretty big factor about it. I think a lot of people, myself included, just wanted to see the story make itself known because, he's the brother of a third overall Kirby Dach, and Dach, Kirby that is, was still a part of the Chicago organization back during that draft, so even when Colton got drafted, you saw the video of Kirby coming into the bedroom and just kind of smothering his younger brother. Yeah, that's back when the draft was done online via Zoom, but still, Colton Dach had a lot of different skills that made him noteworthy. When you watched him in junior, you were like, oh, that guy's definitely the younger brother of Kirby Dach. They almost play similarly. Of course, they're both big guys. Kirby was labeled more as a playmaking Ryan Getzlaf-type mold player. Colton, I'd say, has a bit more of a drive the net and get a shot off, and if you score a nice goal, then that's great sort of style to his game. More of a traditional power forward-like asset compared to Kirby, who was more of a playmaker rather than a pure goal scorer. But Colton definitely has exemplified both of these skills in his AHL tenure thus far. I mean, he's split down the middle, 12 goals and 13 assists in the 30-game sample in Rockford. And now, heading into the Chicago Blackhawks lineup, this could be a guy who has more motivation than ever to play well in his NHL debut. Take a look at this. It was posted by Habs on Reddit. Kirby Dach today spoke about his brother Colton. We were actually texting, trying to figure out what to do for dinner yesterday if he had time to drive down from Rockford. Then halfway through our conversation, he just goes, well, I'll see you tomorrow anyways, because he got called up. He also said this, Colton did in an interview, that his mom will want him and brother Kirby to keep it family-friendly when they face each other during Colton's NHL debut. So unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see ourselves a scrap anytime soon. I think these guys probably will just share a photo in the warm-up and then continue on with their games. I don't really know if there are going to be too many matchups against each other, mostly because Kirby, second-line guy, playing with Line A, playing with Newhook, there isn't really much of a fit there because Colton is probably going to be a bottom six player with the Blackhawks in this upcoming game. I mean, it's his first NHL game, right? So I don't think they'd be giving him a huge role right away unless they wanted to line match, unless they wanted to put him right there in the top six with a Bedard or something. I don't know. Daily Faceoff right now has Colton Dach listed on the third line with Nazar and Teravainen. Nazar, by the way, has been very good in the AHL as well, so I guess there could be some chemistry trying to build itself up in that respect. Nazar, though, has been in the NHL for a bit longer than Colton thus far. But of course, this is just game number 1. Colton long-term, I think, does have maybe a 50 or a 60-point ceiling at the National Hockey League level. His progression has been a lot stronger than most of us had anticipated, because normally, like, third-round guys don't really become much. And I say third round because Colton was taken 62nd overall. He's almost like an early third, late second. Guys in that territory normally don't make the league. Like, there is a less than 50% chance that a guy taken at the end of the second will be an NHL player. So the fact that Colton Dach is going to be that as soon as 2024, 2025, hey, that's a pretty good thing. And the fact that he looks ready as well is also a telltale sign. Last year, you could discredit it because of all the injuries, so to see him work his way up into this part of the lineup, if he scores a goal against his brother in his first NHL game, that guy's not getting taken out anytime soon. With that in mind, though, I have seen some people going out there in their replies and just kind of joking around about the Colton Dach acquisition, like, oh, congrats, he's already better than Kirby Dach. He's already better than his older brother that was taken 3rd overall in 2019. And the thing is, I feel like Kirby has actually been a bit better the past little while here. He's been starting to get more goals, and I get it. It comes after a really long pointless streak where he was given some pretty meaningful ice time and opportunities, but now Kirby Dach, back in that 15 minutes a night time on ice range, scored 2 goals against the Panthers, scored another goal against Vegas the other night too. So if he's able to continue this momentum against the team that drafted him in Chicago, then hopefully he's able to shut up all the haters and everybody that's saying that he should get traded at this point. Because while it is true that Dach hasn't been fantastic this season, he hasn't really been fantastic in a good chunk of his Montreal Canadiens play, honestly, there still is reason to believe in this dude. He's only 23 years old. Like, I get it, a lot of NHL players, if they're going to become stars, you start to see that around this time in their progression, but Kirby has had so many years of injuries, it's hard to fully write him off at this point until you watch some of the gameplay of him this season. Like, he has been playing really up and down, hot and cold throughout the year, so right now we're in one of the good stretches. So hopefully that continues and Kirby is able to dispel the rest of that negative aura that he's got built up from this season. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the debut of Colton Dach tomorrow against Montreal, how he'll be going up against his brother Kirby, and what this means for the Chicago Blackhawks. How good do you think Colton is going to be for Chicago long term? Do you think he's got that dog in him to continue producing at the highest level in the world? How do you think the brother debut is going to be, seeing Colton and Kirby play off against each other? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.